So today I'm actually working on some very, very different stuff. I'm working on a 1947 Clark Tug, which needs a intake system, which I'll show you in just a minute. It's just an open carburetor. To do that, I've got some 1.5-inch aluminum tube. I've got some silicone elbows, some T-bolt clamps, and a filter. Currently it has nothing. I'm going to be putting some Liqui-Moly 2020 motor oil saver in this car and hopefully starting it up a bit. It's got a little bit of an oil pan gasket leak. It hasn't been started in a while. This is a late 70s Porsche 924. It's only got 76,000 original miles on it. It sits quite a bit. It's a nice car, but again, when you don't drive stuff and it doesn't get lubrication, seals dry out and you get leaks. Speaking of leaks, this 1932, I think, Ford T-bucket with a Chevy 350 and a turbo 350 3-speed auto has a little bit of a leak. I was up here last time and I found that the throttle linkage, which comes bottom one there, down here, all the way to the transmission, is leaking. So there's an O-ring in there, and I'm going to replace that. On this car, 99 GTS F1, I installed the Valentine 1, which you can see in there last time, but the hardwire kit that was previously installed in this car is always active, and I need to switch it over to ignition power only. And something completely new for me, working on motorcycles. These are 2003 Indian vintage Chiefs, S&S engines, pretty nice bikes. Both of these need transmission oil flushes, engine oil, spark plugs. The black one needs a full tune-up. Basically it's just an air filter. And then I have to turn the fuel on this bike because it's apparently leaking pretty badly. In addition to the transmission oil leak, which it currently has, this bike also has a burnt out low beam headlight. So I'll be disassembling that, figuring out what bulb it has. And then you can see this light's foggy. The bulb inside is actually it melted out. So I purchased a new one of those lights. Hopefully it fits. That needs to get done as well. So back to the Clark Tug. In here, let me restart with the light on. In here we have an all-iron flathead 4-cylinder engine, a updraft Rochester carburetor, and there's our 1.5-inch inlet. So what I'm planning to do is come off the carburetor, come straight over, go into another 90, come up here, and pop the filter right in here. I think that's going to end up pretty much perfect for what we need. So there's one of my silicon 90s. The next one I'll come over with just a little piece of pipe. In fact, I might even stay flush just to make it look a little nicer. Then come up and drop the filter. This is going to be really simple and really effective. So here we are so far. Now I'm going to measure and cut the aluminum tube and pop in the filter and tighten down the T-bolts. So there's the tube, there's our filter. Voila, just like that, we've got an intake. So there's our kickdown cable, there's our leaky O-ring, and I'm not exactly sure how, I don't think I can show this to you unfortunately. Down in there, I'm not really sure how the kickdown cable attaches in the valve bottom. So what I'm going to do is actually unhook it up here from this set nut take this retainer off. I'm going to feed it all the way back down, pull the cable sheath off, replace the O-ring, and then feed it right back in. I did make a little green marking on the cable so I can realign it for kickdown. But that's my plan so far. So luckily, that worked flawlessly. There's a cable housing, and here's a kickdown cable still attached inside. Oh, look at that. Huh, well that's how that works apparently, guys. You only have to lift it up enough to undo that eyelet. Now I know for the future. But what I'm gonna do now is cut off this old O-ring and then install our new one. So, there we are. It's back on. I did put a little bit of silicone at the top, just as a safety measure. The cable went back in pretty nicely. Didn't really have to finagle it too much. Got it all the way back up through here, through our little bushing clip, and then I have it tightened down back in here. I lost between a half and a whole quart of ATF, so I had this half quart of AMSOIL synthetic, which is what's in here. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to probably fire it up, check the level after shifting it through some gears, and then top up if needed. But I'm going to have to do that with the front end elevated a little bit less than this, but a little bit more than just laying flat because of this being a street rod. It's a little bit different. So I've got some fluid in there. I'm going to leave the dipstick out just so I don't contaminate it and I can read it. I think it's in park. I have no idea how to start this thing. It's not my car, so I think the battery's dead. Might have to find where that is and plug it in. So I just dumped one of those Liqui-Moly 2020s in here. I found what I think is the key to this car, so I'm going to walk around now, get in it, and see if I can fire it up. And if I can, at least try to give it a little bit of a workout, even though I really can't move it much at all. Well, I turned the key and I heard the electric fuel pump kick in. Shifter feels a little loose. Almost have 4 cylinders. There's 4 cylinders. Great oil pressure. There the alternator's working. This thing has not run in a long time. Warm up a little bit. Probably open the door so I don't suffocate. Not running too great. Still, considering how long this car's been under, that's pretty impressive. Well, I'm going to let that thing run. Turn the jump pack back on. Turn on the master power on this bad boy. Nope, not enough juice. Bummer. So this morning I'm back at it. This is one of those 2003 Indian vintage Chiefs. I'm starting with the easy stuff, the engine oil change. I just pulled off the oil filter by hand. Doesn't look too sophisticated. This engine's actually been worked over. It's a little more powerful. But as far as I can tell, it looks like it's a dry sump, because there's an oil tank back here, which it looks like I have to drain out, and looks like the fill is back here. So a little different than I was expecting, but certainly not a big deal. After that, I'm going to be trying to change the primary transmission oil. It looks like there's a little drain plug down here, and it looks like that's probably the fill plug, so I'm not exactly sure yet, but I'm going to do as much as I possibly can. And I'm also going to do spark plugs and an auxiliary light. So this is a little different subject matter than I'm used to working with, but I figure it's still more interesting than nothing. Heading onto the bike now, here's our oil tank. You can see the drain plug is right there. It's a 19 mil, or I think that's a 3/4 in standard. So I'm just gonna grab the pan under here and ready for the geyser. I did crack this loose before I started filming, just so you know, it wasn't that loose. So 3/4 of 2050 should come out now. Just gonna clean off this drain plug a little bit. Handy shop towel. And then our filler is gonna be right here. That's where we put in the 3/4, and then we'll eventually fire it up and check that as well. Well, the engine oil is going in. Luckily, the red line containers are pretty much the perfect size for the filler on this. I'm using, I pretty much only use red line fluids. Oil, whatever, sometimes. Rotella T6 is kind of my go-to, but not for bikes, not for exotics. This stuff is full synthetic, it's 2050, it's designed for air-cooled engines. They have pretty rigorous demands for oil, so once you get past this easy open seal, which is tremendously difficult to open, the irony of all red line fluids, that's been going in. At the same time, I am removing the 3/16 inch, which is weird for me, drain plug, which is already pretty loose and a leaking fluid, which is really terrifying. There's the dipstick I took out of this thing, which is bone dry. I know the bike's sitting at an angle, but I had it normal to roll it up here. So it should have at least saturated that dipstick a little bit, but nothing. So I'm gonna try very hard to use this oversized funnel and fill this poor thing. This shop's unfortunately not well equipped to deal with this sort of service, but I'll get it done. Well, it's all drained out. Opening up the 80W90. Well, I guess it's 75W90, but it says it's recommended for 8090. This is MT90. It's a very, very good fluid. The factory service manual recommends 80W90, so I feel like this fluid's going to be better than whatever the factory would have put in for our application. Of course, this thing closed. It says 20 to 24 ounces. Do not overfill. We'll see. So again, I'm gonna have to try to work with this really jank funnel, see what I can do. So I've got the primary all changed out. It used a good chunk, probably 2/3 of that, which is about what it should have taken. Clear the trash here. The engine oil, I haven't dipsticked yet. This is so dirty, I want to wipe it off before I shove it back in the engine. But I'll be moving over to spark plugs after the engine oil level checks out okay. Yeah, we'll see. So, on this S&S V-twin, we've got a spark plug on the top of each cylinder. I just pulled a little boot off. These are roughly 21 millimeter, which is what I'm using. Gonna pop it in there, break it loose. Be a little more careful than me so you don't scratch your tank. And take her right on out. These are, it looks like Autolite plugs. I'm putting in NGK, that's my plug of choice. Autolight's fine, it's just the cheapo bargain basement. Real time. Sheesh. A lot of thread on this thing. Oh, that's not good. The washer came off. Yep, it needs plugs anyway. I mean, they're not bad, but may as well do it since we're in here and they're so cheap. So I'm just gonna do that to the other side, get the new plugs out, smash those in, and when you're threading in the new spark plug, use the socket with your hands, go finger tight, and then once it's snug, I usually just do a full 90-degree turn after that. Then you should be good. Guess I'll see if this thing will start today. Two volts, that's not good. Well then. Ugh. Another day. Try charging it with this thing. Ridiculous. Sheesh. Wow, this thing is really, really dead. That battery might be toast. So I ran out to Napa and got a second seal beam just so it would match. And then I also replaced the LED bulb that was in there with a standard H4. So the lights all work again. That thing is good to go other than the fact the battery's dead. I think the tabs might be expired. Oh yeah, and the carb hemorrhages fuel. Same bike, same day. I'm gonna do engine oil, primary drive, oil, spark plugs, and then this one actually needs a shifter linkage adjustment, so I'll probably go over that portion with you guys, but the oil change you just saw, the gear oil change, and the primary you just saw, so I'm gonna skip over that.